Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. It's the weekend. How could you be anything but good? We've got Second Scoop coming your way here in just a little while, and we've got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. We're going to start right here. There's a small town in West Virginia, and the actual name of the town is Big Ugly.
Really?
Big Ugly. I don't know why it's called that. I was just thinking how funny it would be if somebody from there would enter a beauty pageant and it could say, Big Ugly Woman wins beauty pageant.
Oh, funny. That would be funny.
I don't know if that's ever happened, but that would be funny. Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone, was originally an instructor for deaf children. He invented the telephone to help his deaf wife and his deaf mother so they could hear. That's what he was working on. How cool is that? Thank goodness that he was working on that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to talk to each other. And finally, we automatically perceive people who smell good as more attractive. So if you smell really good, we perceive you as more attractive.
I can see that.
So apparently people perceive me as not very attractive. All right, coming up, we've got some special stuff to talk about that's on the way. Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday is October the 22nd, Caps Lock Day. I think I know some people on Facebook that use that every day. It's also International Stuttering Awareness Day. It's National Make a Difference Day, National Nut Day, Pitbull Awareness Day, and Smart is Cool Day.
Okay.
Sunday, October the 23rd, is iPod Day, Mother-in-Law Day, National Mole Day, Swallows Depart from San Juan Capistrano Day.
What?
You don't know what that is?
Okay.
It's a bunch of birds. They all take off.
Yes, I know what swallows are.
TV Talk Show Host Day and Xterra World Championships on Sunday, the 23rd. Mother-in-Law Day Sunday. Will I be seeing my mother-in-law? Are we going to see her around this weekend?
Probably not.
We should. We should get together with them. Let's invite them over for Mother-in-Law Day.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun. All right. Something fun to do this weekend. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. First of all, I got to say, didn't we just talk about a town with the name Big Ugly?
Yes.
And now we're going to talk about a different town called Big Lake. But they're talking about maybe renaming the town because there is no lake.
The lake dried up.
It says, once in a while there is. The 1,000-acre lake is dry and has had water in it only a few times, and it's usually when somebody bothers to pump some into it. Mayor J.R. Dunn wants to do just that. He says he wants to drill between 50 and 100 wells to feed the lake on an ongoing basis. The downside is that that's going to cost the city about $2 million, which is way too much. Town only has 3,500 people. Besides,
do you know how many more people would come if there was actually water? I mean, when you
went, big lake,
yeah,
Big Lake in Big Lake.
Everybody wants to live on water.
They also have drinking water and irrigation problems already, so they're not sure that that's going to work. One local resident says the evaporation in Big Lake, Texas, was so bad you'd be looking at more than 1 million gallons of water a day just to keep it going.
Yeah, well, then that's
Mayor Dunn is undeterred. He says, we are sitting here living in a town called Big Lake, and we don't even have a lake. So, don't know if that's quite how he sounded when he said it, but either way, maybe it would be just a good idea to change the name of the town. You know, if you're in Big Lake with no lake. So, I wonder when this lake dried up. And what the issue is that happened there. That's just kind of a bizarre thing.
It'd be easier to just change the name of the town.
Yeah, it's a 1,000-acre dry lake.
Maybe they just call it No Lake. or Dry Lake.
Or Missing Lake, Texas.
Or Random Lake. Sometimes there's a lake.
Sometimes there's a lake, sometimes there's not. Bring your boat, you might get to use it. All right, coming up here in a bit, we got more fun stuff. But this one here, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain. and this is your Brain on Drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your Brain on Drugs. This story comes from Tennessee. They say a 10-year-old was driving about 90 miles an hour and he crashed into a van. They say the passenger were two other younger children along with two adults who had been drinking and taking pills. It's not good. Officials say the authorities arrived on the scene to find a woman trying to swallow as many pills as she could and a man who was reportedly drinking and had at least 15 beers. A photo released by the sheriff's office shows the man wearing a T-shirt that says, you can't make it up, buy this dad a beer. That's what he was wearing. Everyone in the van was taken to the hospital for treatment of minor injuries. Authorities say the children, two 10-year-olds and a 6-year-old, are believed to be related to the adults. Children have been placed in state care. The adults are facing multiple charges. That is actually really a sad story. I shouldn't even laugh because we're chuckling about it because it's, ridiculous that somebody would do that. But, think about how dangerous that was for the kids.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old kid was the one driving. He was going 90 miles an hour when he
Wow.
crashed the van. That's bad stuff.
Some people should not have children.
Well, or just behave. If you've got kids, it's good. Have kids. I'm glad you have kids. Love those kids and don't do dumb stuff. Coming up, your moment of duh.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. If you get a letter in the mail, it's got some white powder on it. Might not necessarily be dangerous, but, I'm not sure. Could be. A company is being a little irresponsible with a mail order promotion. Turns out millions of letters were dropped in the mail. What are you shaking your head at over there? Have we talked about this?
Yeah.
Millions of letters were dropped in the mail containing a white powder. So what was this white powder? It wasn't anything other than harmless what, Heidi?
Samples of their flour.
Yeah, it says baking mix.
Yeah.
The post office said they made decisions to go ahead with the promotion, and they thought it was irresponsible and outrageous and in very bad taste. But the company, Nutricia Ltd. in Wiltshire, England, decided to send out samples of their baking powders.
That's not very smart.
No, it's not very smart. And you remember talking about this?
Oh, yeah.
How do I not remember talking about this?
I don't know. There are lots of stories that you come up with that you're like, hey, listen to this. And I'm just like,
it's the best
seriously?
news. For me, when I can't remember nothing, it's good that I'm the one digging this stuff. I'm like, hey, great story. You're like, you read that last Tuesday. What? All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Nike's newest big deal shoe is a thing called the self-lacing Hyper Adapt 1.0 sneaker. It's going to hit the shelves. November the 28th is when they should be ready. So this is kind of like Back to the Future
Yeah, I've heard about these. I've heard about them, but I wouldn't want any.
So it's power laces, but they call them self-lacing Hyper Adapt 1.0. Here's my question. If they're ready to launch these today, why wouldn't they have just sped up the process a bit to do it last year? Because it was 2015 and, Back to the Future 2. I mean, and also, I don't know, I'm not a baseball fan. I've got friends that keep talking about the Cubs. Could they win the World Series this year? Is that?
I have no clue.
Neither one of us are sports. We don't know. But how cool would it be, honestly? I don't even know. We could sound like morons right now. They could be completely done. I have no idea. I don't pay attention to sports other than I've had a lot of friends on Facebook posting over and over and over about the Cubs. How cool would it be if they did win the World Series this year and if the power laces came out and Back to the Future was just off by 1 year? Hey, a new study has concluded that pigeons can understand words. Yeah.
Really?
Probably get the heck out of here is the thing they understand the most. Scientists say they have been able to identify the part of the brain that causes people to enjoy the misfortune of others.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what this part is called, but I know some people that have a very large part of their brain that does that. A Florida police department said they're holding on to 16 potted marijuana plants found on a trail until the owner comes forward. Gainesville Police Department found the potted plants under a large bush near a trail. They left a note at the scene reading, "We have your weed. Call 911 to claim it." Do you think anyone's going to call?
I doubt it. Well, you know what? we hear about people doing that all the
I
time,
would
so
say-
they very well could.
Were you listening a bit ago for the the moment of duh and the this is your brain on
They
drugs?
definitely could. They definitely could.
Absolutely. Hey, if you want to feel old, think about this. Remember Luke Perry, Beverly Hills 90210?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like back when we were kids.
Vaguely,
he
I
was
didn't
kind
watch
of-
that show, so
Even if you didn't watch the show, you know that he was kind of a kid when we were kind of kids. Well, he's now the face of AARP. He turned 50.
are you kidding?
He turned 50 this month, and they're putting him into the group's demo, and it says he's mugging for AARP. So what is mugging for? What does that mean?
They're letting him use his face.
Yeah, so whatever that means, he's mugging.
They're using his mug.
All right. Well,
I thought he was younger than us.
No, he's older than us, apparently. So he's 50. We're not 50 yet. Thank goodness. Here's the one thing I have to say. At least I'm not 50. Now, if you're 50, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, joke thieves, beware. Twitter seems to be cracking down on Twitter plagiarism. You out
Okay.
there stealing other people's tweets? Well, in a freewheeling universe home to millions of spam bots and fake celebrities and auto trolls and whatever all these other things are, it's probably no surprise that many Twitter accounts habitually steal short quips to rack up followers. Well, now the social network is erasing and hiding a number of tweets that were reported as stolen. So for those of you who have, Twitter accounts and you pound in 140 characters and you think it's brilliant, and then you go back on and you see somebody else just copied and pasted your stuff, good news for you, not much longer. You ready for our final story?
Sure.
A new survey finds that nearly half of all Americans gain weight on the job. According to the workers, it's hard to eat healthy and exercise when you're working hard. So
I would agree with that.
I think a lot of that would depend on the job, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're in construction.
Yeah, if you've got like a real strenuous job, that's probably not
yeah,
accurate.
that's not an issue for you usually, but
for me, yeah, it's an issue.
for
I'm
most Americans who have very sedentary jobs where
just
you're sitting
around
at
all
a
day.
desk all
Nothing.
the time.
Yeah, I could see that. All right, coming up here in a moment, we've got your second scoop. That is on the way for the weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice too at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your second scoop of the day. I like the second scoop. You're not a fan of this, are
I'm
you?
not.
I love it. Here's why. Because we get to learn stuff like this. A study finds that Americans still working nearly 20% more than Europeans.
Well, of course.
Seems like we are
That
always
doesn't-
working.
That's not right.
And I thought that I would save that for our weekend edition.
And
Hey,
here we are working
by the
on
way,
the weekend.
There's an old claim that Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg will give away $1,000 to Facebook users if they stop sharing stupid hoaxes on the social media site. It's going viral once again. Hundreds of Facebook users are sharing this message, apparently under the mistaken impression that it was some genuine thing.
Which
but
is just ironic because
Yeah.
you're sharing a stupid hoax.
first time this appeared was December 31st of last year when the News Thump, a satirical website, published an article that was meant to be a parody of the previous Facebook hoaxes, but people just didn't get the parody.
That's funny.
And they were sharing it, proving that the entire
Yeah.
thing was actually worth sharing, I guess.
Wow.
Hey, take a listen to this. A waitress at a South Carolina restaurant said she felt, quote, humiliated and, quote, heartbroken by a tip that came from a note at the restaurant that she worked at.
Okay.
The woman's place is in the home, is what the note said.
Oh.
Renee is a server at Cracker Barrel Restaurant in Greenville. And again, this is in South Carolina. The couple she served appeared to be in their mid-50s. The note was left instead of cash. The note thanked Renee for her excellent service, but went on to tell her that her place is in the home and her working is a disgrace to her husband's manhood and the reason he must see another woman on his way home. What?
Whoa.
The note also included what appeared to be references to a presidential campaign. And I won't even say what the phrase is because you'll know which one. So part of me wonders if this is even a real story. I don't know.
I don't. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna just move on from there. We're not gonna get political here. I already promised that. Let's move on to this. Feeding cows seaweed could slash global greenhouse gas. Can I speak today? New research from the James Cook University says they could drastically reduce the impact of agriculture's industry on global environment if they just feed the cows seaweed. You know, so you got to go buy that seaweed and then truck it there. And when you get it there, then you're not going to have as many gases coming out of the back of the cow.
But you'll have all the gas that you use trucking the seaweed.
Unless,
to
of course,
get
we
to
could
the
just
cows.
move all the cows to the seaweed. I don't know. Professor from the aquaculture at James Cook University, that's a thing apparently, in Australia, they've been studying the effects of seaweed on a cow's methane production. They discovered a small amount of dried seaweed added to a cow's diet could reduce the amount of methane that a cow produces by up to 99%. So there you go. Less cow farts, but you got to truck that seaweed there to get there. So
I wondered what Aquaman was up to these days.
Hey, a man in Portland, Oregon tried to buy a snowmobile off Craigslist using a pound of pot. When he showed up for the sale, he was arrested because the seller happened to be a state trooper.
Oh, my gosh.
Sometimes you just can't make this
Just
stuff up.
can't win some days. Poor guy.
Scientists at... Oh, poor guy. What are you talking about? No. Scientists at the National Institute of Mental Health discovered a way to turn lazy monkeys into workaholics. The rhesus monkeys had to push a lever in response to a visual cue to get a reward with a drop of water. After a while, they'd slack off, but when given a gene treatment that blocks brain cells from receiving dopamine, the chemical associated with rewards, the monkeys worked harder and longer and made fewer mistakes. So if our coffee tastes funny around the office, that's because they're putting this stuff in it. I kind of want to get some of that now. Look, I'm going to work harder and
I'm
longer.
definitely going to get some for you.
I can't. I have adult ADD. Where's that book? Somewhere here. I don't know. Oh, is it this one? I'm going to be talking to an author. I got to read this book because the book, Overcoming Distractions, Thriving with Adult ADD and ADHD. I can't wait till... I got to read that before the interview. Well, I don't know when it's coming up soon, but I'll have to do that one of these days. And our final story, Heidi. I know you can't wait. Many people today are familiar with miracles told in the Bible, but it's not just people in the first century who believe in miracles. Various polls peg U.S., right here in the United States, many people, about 80% believe in miracles. One survey suggests that 73% of U.S. physicians believe in miracles. 55% claim to have personally witnessed treatments that resulted with something that was miraculous. Even more striking as the number of people who believe in miracles is the number of people who have claimed to have witnessed and experienced them. So there you go. It's not just things from way back when. There are people that are experiencing miracles. Have you ever seen a miracle, Heidi?
Yes.
I have as well.
And I believe in miracles. Absolutely.
I do too. So count us for that. Coming up in a bit, it's a miracle that we're on the radio. I can tell you that. Have you heard me do this program? No, we're coming up in a bit. We're going to get to some real news, real fun stuff. It's all on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you ready for Duel? Kyle Dowling on guitar, Brett Gunderson on bass, Sam DeVito on drums, and frontman Duel Shape.
Gotta keep rocking, gotta keep sucking, bringing it down like rain.
Duel's new single just hit iTunes and it's selling fast. Get your copy now.
When you're locked in chains and you feel no pain, Supernova gonna get you too.
Their first single, Supernova, is available now for less than $1. Learn more and find a direct link to buy Supernova at facebook.com/duelrocks.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Mosquito repellents don't repel. No, they don't. They actually hide you. The spray blocks the mosquito sensors, so they don't even know you're there.
That's cool.
So there you go. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Eisenhower interstate system requires that 1 mile in every 5 must be straight. You know why?
Why?
So airplanes could use them as a landing pad in case of emergencies.
They needed to. Nice.
Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Hang On Sloopy is the official song, the rock song of Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Because it is. Hang on, Sloopy. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Speaking of states, how about this one? California consumes more bottled water than any other state.
I could see that.
Yeah, they like it. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Jesus Christ has a driver's license in California. It's actually a guy that has that for his real name. There's 6 of them, 6 people in California with the name Jesus Christ. So there you go. Can you imagine pulling over Jesus Christ?
No.
Would you give him a warning? Would you like, we're gonna let you out with a warning this time? All right, coming up, we've got more fun stuff on a weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. A thief drives off in a $125,000 car after convincing the dealership that it was his. Can you imagine how upset somebody would be?
That's insane.
A thief?
I think we've talked about this before.
Do you think
too,
so?
Though. Yeah.
Well, a thief in California has driven off in a new $125,000 Porsche after convincing the sales staff it was his. The real buyer, who had waited 2 years for his special order, showed up 20 minutes later at the dealership.
Wow.
Police are looking for the Porsche 996 Turbo and the man who drove it. They say that he arrived at the dealership dressed in a gray business suit, carrying a handheld computer. According to police, Detective Dana LaRocha, the general manager, had told a worker to finish washing the car because the customer who ordered it was on his way. The suspect then told the worker, "Oh, yeah, that's mine."
Oh
and
my
they
gosh.
gave him the keys.
I can't believe they didn't even ask for his name.
You'd think
what is
they
your
would've
name, sir?
Done something. Now, it reminds
Or
me...
made him sign a document that said he picked up the car or something.
It reminds me of WKRP in Cincinnati. Do you remember that?
I love that
There
show.
Remember they did the really challenging
Yeah,
question?
and they had to give away all that money,
It
and
was
they gave it to the wrong
supposed to
guy.
be like $50, and they did $5,000
Yeah.
all at once. And then the guy got it right, and he was like coughing on the phone. And then when somebody showed up, they didn't ask for ID or anything. They gave the money.
But they took a picture with him, and
And they sent him out the door. And then the real guy came in, kind of sick. He's like, "Yeah, I came to pick up my money." And they're like, "Wait a minute."
I brought my ID and my birth certificate. I figured you want that.
Nope, you wouldn't let somebody come in and get that money without, the ID. Nobody would be that dumb. And they're like, "Yes, we would." That was so funny.
Such a great show.
We got that on DVD for
We do?
Christmas 2 years ago, and I am so glad when it came out. We watched every episode like 4 times now. So
You had never watched that, really.
I had seen a bunch of them, but I hadn't seen all of them. So good stuff. Anyway, back to this. The dude walked in, said, "Hey, that's my Porsche." They gave him the keys, and now he's on the lam. So that's not good. Coming up, a dog gets his day in court. We'll tell you all about it in a bit.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner or the person in charge of advertising, I have a special offer just for you. We're doing a jingle special this month. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? How would you like to be the name in your industry and have people singing your song? We've worked with hundreds of small businesses to create their own musical image, and we want to help you too. Reach out right now and we'll give you $500 off. Squeeze it into this year's budget and get results for years to come. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
A lawyer has been awarded $100,000 for defending a dog in court. Yeah, Raymond Dowd was given the award by the trial judge after a 3-year-long court
good
battle.
Lord.
Robert, the dog, has been denied a share of a will left by a billionaire heiress, Doris Duke. For the care of her dogs, Mr. Dowd won the case and was awarded the legal fees by the judge in New York. So the dog's day in court came and went, and the lawyer has been awarded $100,000. I wonder how much the dog gets. Or is he the
dog
one?
Probably died in that amount of time.
But I'm just wondering.
and didn't get any of it.
So who took care of the dog during that time? Is the lawyer the one that was taking care of the dog,
I
too?
have no idea.
That story is confusing.
That's ridiculous.
It is. Coming up, you know what we have? We've got a story that is going to make you laugh because it is just such a goofy thing. It is so cruel and it is so stupid, but it is so funny as well. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Before we even share this story, I got to say that I don't believe it's a good idea to do what this person did, but the guy's got a sense of humor that I know Heidi's going to laugh. Uganda officials are looking for a hunter who pursues gorillas, but he doesn't kill them. What he does, he shoots them with a tranquilizer and then dresses them in clown outfits. He doesn't kill them. He doesn't.
That is
So
awesome.
he leaves. I prefaced it with, I think it's a bad idea. I would never do this, but it's funny because I'm just imagining this poor gorilla walking around.
Walking around in a clown outfit.
So he leaves the gorilla to wander around in a clown outfit until the officials have to come and re-tranquilize him and then remove the
poor
outfit.
thing.
That is terrible. So anyway, there's some dude out there that's got a weird sense of humor. So I knew Heidi would like that.
Weird
Thanks.
sense of humor and an awesome hobby.
And a lot of clown outfits, apparently.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Hey bosses, if you are busting the chops of your employees for watching cute animal videos at work, you might consider backing off. Heidi. She yells at me all the time, not for animal videos, but for goofing around on Facebook. Recent study reveals that viewing videos and puppies and kitties calms people on the clock and it makes them better at their job. So when I'm on Facebook and
That is absolutely not true. That is
and I get so
absolutely
calm
not true.
having
I can
conversations,
totally prove.
having conversations about
Yeah.
politics, I
No,
get so calm.
I am so irritated. If there was a way for me to get rid of Facebook and wipe it off the planet,
What?
so that you would focus, I would absolutely do it.
No, hey, I got something we're going to share on there in a bit, so don't do that. Hey, take a listen to this. So, a recent study reveals viewing videos and puppies and all those, animal cams and all that stuff. There's a series of experiments from a university in Japan where the researchers found that people who looked at pictures of sweet little critters outperformed those who did not. Cute animals not only make us happier, Heidi, they also affect our behavior. The research writes, and it says, this study shows that viewing cute things improves subsequent performances in tasks that require behavioral carefulness, possibly by narrowing the breadth of the attention focus. But make sure those beasts you are gazing at are young'uns. The study revealed that folks who watched babies outperformed people who watched photos of adult animals. Watching adult animals or adult humans did not have the same effect. So it had to be a cute, cuddly, fuzzy little baby, whatever, cat, dog,
Yeah, you
kitten,
don't do
puppy.
that online, so
I don't. But here's what I will say. I do stare at you often, and you are beautiful.
you
So
don't
I
ever
think-
get to stare at me.
I'm looking at you right now. Hubba. And I think that makes me work really hard. So there you go. I'm going to just move on.
Yeah.
We've got some good news coming your way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, don't we?
Yes.
And then we share this good news on our Facebook page, which I've already done because I want to give you the opportunity to go there and share it, and you can waste a little time like I do. I'm just teasing Heidi. Hey, listen to this. This is just a touching story. An evangelist with no arms and no legs has millions of people inspired worldwide. ChristianToday.com tells the story of Nick Vujlik. He led thousands of people to Christ during a recent tour in Europe. He met with leaders in the Ukraine and Slovenia, and one really incredible night in the Ukraine, he says more than half of the 5,000 people who listened to him speak in an auditorium stood up and repented and received Jesus as their Lord and Savior during this event. How cool is that? And then they were all followed up with by people from the local church. And this is a guy who you got to go to the page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And you can read the story there, and you can see images. And again, Nick, and I don't know if I'm saying the name right, Vujlik, something like that, Vuklik. I'm not sure how you say it exactly, but that's one thing. We have an easy last name to say, Small.
Yeah.
There's probably not a lot of people that get that wrong.
No, not really.
But this Nick, he draws. Look, here's Heidi. Can you see the images? Look at the crowd of people that are there. It is unbelievable. So if you want to get all the details, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And like I said, we always try to share good news there. And this was sent to me. And if you've got some good news that you'd like to share, you can send it over to us as well. And we'll see if we maybe can utilize that during the radio program here as well. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.